Well, hi all. I hope you are not too lazy after lunch, but probably with the cold in the room, it's going to be okay. My name is Raul Lucas. I am the Spain country manager of the Open APIs initiative in BBVA. That for the world outside the bank is our API market. You can check it out at BBVA-APImarket.com. And probably most of you know that BBVA is vetting massively in innovation, in digital transformation, and all things that have to do with digital. And one of the most important initiatives is this one, to not just for new digital business strategy, but for the World Bank strategy. So I have prepared a brief presentation. It's around 10 slides. I just want to introduce a bit of history and how comes that we have walked this road till this point. Overall, focusing on the business perspective about open APIs to the world. Almost every company or every modern company plays or have played during the last years with the idea of APIfying their business, and BBVA is one of them. And we have been working on APIs for, I would say, almost 6 or 7 years by now. But now is when we are opening them to the exterior, and that's what I am going to focus on. So how this starts? A bit of history. All this story begins in the Innovation Center in Madrid, when BBVA starts playing with the idea of open data, and to do that, what we decided to do is to launch what we call Innova Challenge. That was a hackathon over our data sets, our big data applications. That was why we call it datathons. And we launched a first edition in 2013 over transactions with BBVA cards on physical merchants on Madrid and Barcelona. And it was a huge success, and we repeated the same initiative the next year in 2014 in over Mexico data, over our Mexico bank there, Bancomer, and again with very, very good results. Our idea, a part of discovering talent and building new applications out of our mind, that anyway resulted very good. We wanted to verify our hypothesis that we were going to be able to find a way to start integrating with the exterior in a secure way and in an easy way. And that way was an API. We developed an API to access those data sets. So you have here what it was a very, very incipient infrastructure, but that it is not so different with what we have right now. We started accessing a data set. Now we are accessing data sets and also the core banking. We had one single API, and now we are offering 8 APIs with a lot of services and much more incoming. We have Genoa, internal developed API manager that has evolved currently to APIversity, that the guys on the back can explain further, and that you can check it out at 2:20, I think, in the workshop in the other stage. This API manager enabled us to manage the security and control the calls from the exterior, have some control about the statistics and the analytics about usage. And we realized that also we needed to open to the exterior 2 websites. One website to act as a developer portal, to have there all the technical documentation, all the examples to integrate with our API, the sandbox examples, and all that kind of stuff that a developer needs to integrate with an API. And another website that it would be having all the content information to attract people, to register people in the program, and so on. These two websites have recently been reunited in just one web portal, who is called the API market. So as you can see, this initial infrastructure hasn't changed too much with what we are having right now. Besides this, we have in BBVA recently created also, starting in 2013, our venture creation area within New Digital Business, with the idea or with the main goal of developing a systematic process of generating business ideas, developing minimum viable products very, very fast, and testing them in real environment. And if they don't success, just kill them quickly without investing 5 years and 20 millions in developing them. To do this, there was just one key mandate, and it was any external or internal integration must go through our open platform. As you can imagine, talking with business owners of these initiatives at the beginning of the road, it was quite hard because they all have their own priorities, and they didn't want to wait till the service they needed was developed in our open platform. But currently, we already have a very fine catalog to start building new products on top of that. And now they just have to log in our API market and connect and integrate with our APIs. So at the end of the day, it pays off. All this was happening in BBVA Spain, but at the other side of the Atlantic, BBVA was acquiring Simple. Simple Banking is a banking and mobile application focused on giving a very impressive user experience, very focused on a very nice mobile banking experience, and running over the Bancorp core and license. Obviously, when we acquired Simple, we decided that we don't want them go on running over Bancorp services, and we started developing the integration with the BBVA Compass core. Of course, we could have done it in the traditional way, ad hoc integration, hard coding everything, but we decided to build the integration over APIs that could be reusable. Now we have Simple running 100% over BBVA Compass services, and those services, those APIs, are reusable. So if any other startup is willing to build banking services over a core banking, can do it on top of our interface. And almost this story I am telling you is explaining or it justifies the situation in which we are right now and the services we have in production. But let's talk about the opportunity. The business opportunity is what matters at the end of the day. And meanwhile, all this was happening inside the house. Outside the house, the perfect storm was being formed. And this perfect storm is mainly composed by 3 drivers. The first one is new players, fintech startups and technology giants are now offering payments and other financial products with better results of most banks. And that's a reality, we can not deny it. PSD2 is forcing banks to open basic access to data at customer request. Banks are not owners of the data, customers are. And information-driven industries are making the leap from products to platforms. And that's only the natural evolution. With focus on products, you have just one revenue stream. Developing a platform, you can have many. So this is the minimum viable product that we thought we could send to the market. It was composed by the website, the API market plus an onboarding model, and the minimum products we thought it makes sense to offer as a basic catalog. The API market is the website on which we offer both to business and developers what they need to integrate with us. To the businessman, landing pages explaining the detailed products and how they can help themselves in their own business. And to the developer, all the tools that they need to integrate. Very detailed documentation based on RAML, test console, sandbox environment to test the process statistics and all the tools that a developer may need to integrate with our APIs. But that is not enough. We discovered that we needed an onboarding model. We dreamed with the idea of open APIs, of any developer purchasing with a credit card 5,000 calls and starting integrating with our core banking. But that is just too out of the reality when you talk inside the bank about that idea. So we developed this onboarding model, starting with a simple registering process, accessing to all the APIs in our sandbox environment, no limit of calls. You can play as long as you can, as long as you want, and you can even prototype your application for making a proof of concept. If you think it's worth it, you can request what we call basic access. This is access to real data, but with any kind of limitation. It can be in a number of calls, it can be in a perimeter of users. The idea is that you can test with real data and real services your application without having to pay for it. To go from sandbox to basic, we perform a due diligence process, quite agile. It takes from 1 to 2 weeks. Mainly we get to know the company, get to know the intended usage of our APIs in its business. And if you are not going to sell drugs, weapons, or pornography, probably you are good to go. After testing the application in the basic access, the full access is just unlimited calls under a business model relationship. It can be different business models. The most basic one would be pay-per-call, but there are other options depending on the kind of products you are consuming. And regarding the products, the APIs we are offering, we were offering as a MVP. We had pay stats, that it is the evolution of that data API that I explained it before. And afterwards, we are offering all the services on top of the retail banking customer with a BBVA Connect, that it is very, very similar to a Facebook Connect or LinkedIn Connect. The customer authenticates himself in a third-party website or application, and then he would be given permission to the third-party application to access their data and services on these categories that I won't go deeper, because I will show you afterwards in a demo. So how test this MVP? What we did is to launch a friends and family focused, very focused in test and learn. We have been conducted the friends and family that we call the alpha release since December 15. And we are closing the friends and family this month. And along all this month, we want to focus on those goals over it. Test our product market fit, evaluate the quality of our developments, of our user experience, developer experience, test our API manager solution, test our own services, learn about how the relationship with our customers is going to be, what kind of SLAs they are expecting, learn about the price they are ready to pay for, And to do this, we had to set some game rules, because this is a very, very risky project for the bank, and your control areas, legal, compliance, risk, are going to see it as is. And not only within the bank, we also presented this pilot to the regulator. We shared all the information with El Banco de España to be sure that we weren't doing something that they didn't want to be done. And here you have the huge amount of companies that have gone through this friends and family, from invitation, registering, application creation, active API calls, and request of basic access. So as you can see, there are a lot of enterprises we have been talking in these months, and probably we need to try to recover some of the enterprises that have fallen in the way. But anyway, we are pretty satisfied with the results in terms of learning and in terms of the companies that are willing to go on with the relationship. And this is the main learning. The main learning of this alpha release is that this is not just about APIs anymore. The technology is not the challenge anymore. I don't want to lie to you, because probably like 80% of our budget is focused on technology, and our teams are mainly formed by developers. But we have in BBVA around 150 services already developed in APIs that could be offered technically in different geographies, and we are just offering 8 APIs. And why is that? Because of this, because the API is just the point of the iceberg, but you have to build all the rest of the service of the product to be able to offer it in a commercial relationship. Any API needs to have its associated terms and conditions. You need to have identified any AML or KYC risks, or build the capabilities, identify any kind of credit risk, take care of what your partners are going to do with your services. Don't forget that we are developing mainly services that are enjoyed by BBVA customers on third-party platforms. If they screw it up, our reputation is going to be impacted. So we have to be very, very clear that they are going to do things the way we would like it, and only in that case open the APIs. And you need the API market, you need an API manager solution, you need an onboarding process, pricing, marketing, and so on. So is this difficult? Why are we investing so much on this? Because we believe this is the way we will be surviving in this new ecosystem. And this is our path of evolution. We already have these 3 products ready to be launched within this month. A notification service that would enable any third party to subscribe to real-time notifications on the finance of a customer. Withdrawals that would be enable withdraw money on an ATM without a card, just with a code that is sent by a text to a mobile phone. And the first services over the loans vertical that will be developed more deep in the future, but that now enables access to customers' pre-approved loans within BBVA that can be offered, for example, in an online point of sale. Those already are ready, and we are developing more and more services on these 3 verticals. These ones are already presented: aggregated data and retail banking. And we are hoping to offer the first very services on top of business APIs at the end of this year. And I don't want to delay it anymore. I am going just to play some videos about our APIs and how them works, if I am able to do it. There you go. So this is an available demo on our website. It is just a way to show how it works. This is the BBVA Connect process. In a third-party platform, the BBVA Connect button would be there, and the customer would be authenticating himself with his online banking credentials, giving permission to these scopes, to these services that the third party want to access, accepting terms and conditions. And this way, the credentials are always in our core services without the need of sharing it with any third party. The customer information allows to recover the personal data from a customer in its BBVA profile. Some data are protected, so you needed to unblock them with a text that it is sent to the customer. This is what we call OTP or one-time password. You can also access to account information, account details, and account transactions on the BBVA banking from the customer. We recover data from 2007, or the account opening, if that is afterwards. And you can have access to all the movements. Imagine the power of having all this information for a retailer who can deal with all this information and react when payroll is paid or when people is paying the receipts on real time. Same information about cards. You can have access to the cards of the BBVA customer and to the card details. And from there, you can process to a payment without having to ask the customer to take the card out of his wallet. And this is the money transfer service that allows anybody to perform directly in their platforms money transfers, one time, scheduled, or deferred money transfers. In this example, we are sending money from one account to another, but it could be used as a payment method, directly asking the customer just to select from which account he wants to pay. So the user experience would be much seamless than the one we are seeing here. You don't have to ask about the amount or anything. Again, we are moving real money here, so the one-time password is requested, and the customer needs to introduce the text code sent to its mobile. So I'm going to stop here. If I can. This one is the notifications API that I explained it before. This is a subscription to events that happens in the finance of a BBVA customer. Currently, we only have one event developed, that is the car purchase. So whenever a customer makes a purchase with a car in any offline or online merchant, your application would be notified of a callback with the details of the transaction. What we are seeing right now is the administration portal for the customer to be able to check what permissions he has already done to which application. So, for example, if I have already give permissions to Amazon or to Spotify, I can admin from there. And this is the subscription. We are subscribing to banking car purchases. as a third-party application, and now the customer is just making a purchase in wherever merchant he wants. For example, with PayPal, at the end of the day, the funds are going to be charged to his credit card, and when we are subscribed to the credit card event, we would be receiving the notification on real time of this purchase. And as a merchant, I can then react to that event. Maybe I want to make another offer, or I want to sell them a complementary product, or whatever you manage to do with that information. So the purchase is almost completed, and then we will be seeing the callback that we receive in our application. Not there. There. There you have all the details that we recover on real time from the purchase, and with those data we can react and take care about our customer. Just two more videos, and I would be finished. Not this one. Sorry about that. This one is a mobile application developed by 4&Go, a company that works with us. And they are building this on top of our aggregated data. So you are here checking which location do you want to analyze. You are selecting the category, the merchant category that you can analyze. You want to analyze. They access a Foursquare API to check your competency. So all those are locals that are going to fight against your business. And those are demographics extracted from our data. So we can see which kind of customers are buying with BBVA cards on this merchant sector and this merchant category on this location, and we can have all the information from where they are coming to purchase here, what profile they are, and all the information that you think it can be relevant for seeing if you want to open a business there, or if you want to launch a advertisement campaign there, or whatever. And last one, this is just very, very quick, a bot built in Telegram, integrating with our car API to purchase a real purchase in El Corte Inglés. So we are presenting the BBVA Connect process. The customer introduced his credentials there. Authentication successful. And he wants to buy an iPhone. Which one? iPhone 6s Plus. Which color? What do you want to know? Specifications. So it recovers the information and some prices from El Corte Inglés, Amazon, opinions about it. And he wants to buy it on El Corte Inglés. So the security code to purchase to perform the purchase is sent to the mobile. He introduces the code confirming that they are allowed to access their card data. Authentication is good. And with this, El Corte Inglés has access to the car of the customer and to the address to deliver the product. and it's done. So that's all, guys. It was just a very brief history about how we have reached till this point, and just a very quick show of our products. Any questions?
Okay, we'll take 2 quick questions. Anyone? I wanted to ask, so on your goals slide earlier on, you showed that one of them was testing the user journey. So when you're working, so then there's the technical team and then the business team. So then what work are they doing to sort of map those assumptions about what the user journey? So for example, in that second to last one, you've done the chance pay stats one.
Yeah.
So then how much are you actually mapping out, okay, one of the customer journeys for our small business customers is they want to know if they should locate their business in a particular area, and then you'd map that out and then show that this sort of app product will show them that.
When I was referring to customer journey,
Yeah.
I was talking about our customers. So,
okay.
So they are our developers, our
Your developers, yeah.
Enterprises working that could be our customers. So the thing is that we didn't that before starting developing. So we have done across the friends and family phase. We have been offering the products to them to test, and interacting with them, getting feedback, and improving our products and our website on top of all their feedback.
So then before you started building even the initial set of APIs for your product marketplace, your team sat down and did some customer journeys with the developers being the customers. And then you mapped out a few of those ideas?
We did that, but very briefly, and we have spent all these months testing that our hypotheses were correct or not during all these friends and family phase.
How did you start that process? Because that's very blank canvas. What did you bring to the table as far as trying to map out some of those ideas about what developers will need from your APIs?
Well, I think you need to have at least some initial hypothesis to test,
right? Because
starting from scratch is quite crazy.
So, yeah.
But anyway, we have teams doing that within the bank. But for us, the experience has been, hey, this is what we consider the minimum viable product. Is this of interest of you? How can we get a product that would suit you? And we have been receiving very, very good feedback talking about, hey, I would use your product if you add this, or if you subtract this, or if it's free, or if or whatever. And also, we have discovered that our obvious target, that were PFMs and fintechs, are not only the only target we are possibly acquiring. There are a bunch of companies that, when they go through the explanation of the product, discover that they can integrate it in some point of their business that we didn't know, because we don't know their business.
Okay, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yep. Any other questions? Yep.
Hi. Introducing open APIs in the banking environment is kind of tricky when it comes to security. So what did you do there?
We have our own security layer. It is called Armadillo. It is developed within the bank, and I am not a very tech guy, so here my team could cover this question more deeply if you're interested.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Raul.